super sweet in this week's episode of One Piece as Luffy and his group of Straw Hat Pirates have arrived in Toctoland, where everything is smiling, everything is chocolate, but behind it all lies a dark force, the malevolent and evil Big Mom. There are so many things going on in this week's episode of One Piece, and honestly, that's kind of refreshing because the last couple of episodes have been very slow. Chopper and Luffy going into town and eating everything in sight, a little bit of fan service from Nami and Carrot, Brook constantly just drowning us all in his panties joke, the introduction of putting Charlotte, the daughter of Big Mom, and who Sanji is betrothed to marry, not to mention the formal introduction of Big Mom herself, and what I think was probably one of the greatest sequences I've seen from One Piece in quite some time. It was musical, it was well animated, it had some crazy colors, just about everything has a face, and Big Mom herself is just booming with an extreme personality, as she is absolutely excited about seeing her daughter get married. In order for this occasion to go down perfectly, she's gonna need a cake. And she's gonna need a really big, super-sized cake. So much so that she sends some of her greatest warriors to all of these various islands, which specialize in certain ingredients, like eggs and flour and fruit. And they go to these islands which specialize in these ingredients and completely just slay and murder all of the citizens and steal all of their shit. To the citizens that work and live on these islands, knowing that Big Mom is about to have a tea party is something that is horrifying for them. It manages to be both scary and funny at the same time. Funny, of course, because all they're there for is to gather ingredients to make a cake. Scary, because they pretty much murder everyone in sight. It's kind of fucked up, even more so in the anime version, and it's also a great introduction to some of the goons who work for Big Mom. Like this one woman who has an incredibly tall and thin neck and is wearing this gigantic, ridiculous hat. She has an appearance which borders on zombie-like, and she also has a very devastating and powerful sword. We also have a man who seems to be half-trained, as well as another rabbit person. I can't wait until Carrot meets this guy. This is all accompanied by this amazing scene of Big Mom hanging out in her castle and having this amazing musical sequence where she's singing about making the cake and killing the citizens all at the same time and how ruthless she is. And it's amazing because the lyrics are so juxtaposed to the actual imagery, which is super happy, with everything having a face and singing and bouncing around. It looks like all of the backgrounds that you saw in, like, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's just like, we have just entered Toonland. It's absolutely insane, and I really love it. And it's done with some expert animation. Just the build-up to it is great, because it's all shrouded in darkness when suddenly there's this electrical crackle. You get to see the shadowy faces, and then suddenly, boom, we're in this super bright room watching Big Mom, who's really scary looking, just have this amazing musical sequence. It's one of the best things that I've seen from the One Piece series, and one of the best introductions, I'd say the best introduction to any of the Yonko thus far. The rest of the episode, however, sort of plays out how you would expect, with Luffy and Chopper just going around and being enamored with everything that is made out of chocolate, and I mean everything is made out of chocolate. Even the freaking clothes are. There's a great scene where a guy's wearing a chocolate shirt and he's just eating his sleeve. It's ridiculous. And of course, they decide to eat way too damn much, to the point where they actually eat a building. And apparently the law in this town is you can eat anything that's chocolate except for like the tiles on roofs and some other important objects, but you can't eat any of the normal candied things which are actually made to build the houses. It's a crime which is apparently very punishable, and they end up getting caught by this cop, and right before they're about to be thrown in jail, suddenly the arrival of a new character, who is this incredibly cute girl who is riding on a magic carpet, which also has the ability to talk. Are you starting to see a theme here? A lot of the things on this island have a face, and to go along with this, this is probably the most diverse cast that we've seen from any One Piece setting, as according to Big Mom, her dream is to actually have an island and nation filled with every single type of race that exists in the One Piece world. And that's actually something that is kind of commendable for someone who comes across as incredibly domineering and very freaky. But this is when we get the introduction of her daughter, Pudding, who Sanji is going to get married to, and she actually ends up saving both Luffy and Chopper, saying that they're actually a demolition crew who's getting ready to come in and eat the restaurant as it was going to be expired and they were going to be starting a new one. And they're able to get off the hook. They meet up with Pudding. They have a lot more food and there's a lot more ridiculous sequences. But at the very end of the episode, of course, because Luffy is really bad at like hiding who he is, he reveals that he is indeed Straw Hat Luffy, which freaks out Pudding, and that's when we get the introduction of Big Mom, ending this week's episode. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? 3 Brook panty jokes. 3. I don't know if this episode needed it, but it actually was kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. The scene at the beginning with Brook looking at Nami's brand new outfit is funny because he's just saying what all the viewers are thinking. And I mean, you know, Nami is played up completely for frickin' fan service in this episode, and I have no problem with it whatsoever. I also really liked getting to see Carrot in a brand new outfit, which is just, oh, so adorable. She continues to be probably my favorite female character from the series. I haven't really hid that from anybody, and you guys know that I'm kind of enamored with Carrot already. But this episode right here just came across as whimsical and fun, especially with Big Mom's introduction, which is without a doubt the highlight of this week's episode. And reading it in the manga version, I completely forgot that it was actually going to be very musical and that she was going to be singing a lot. And it kind of makes me wish that she would constantly sort of talk in, like, music. Like, she would constantly sing when she's doing things. It would just add a really nice dynamic to her character. And like I said, it's a really great juxtaposition tool because she's so evil and malicious, and yet she's so bouncy and jovial and fun. It's really great. It kind of gives me, like, the same vibe of, like, the Joker from Batman. Like, you know, his outside appearance doesn't necessarily fit with his overall ideals, and that's what makes Big Mom such a fascinating and interesting character, and I'm really glad that they did a lot of justice to her introduction, and it looked just as awesome as it did in the manga version. I remember reading that and being like, oh man, I cannot wait to see what this is gonna look like in the anime for just how many different things are going on, and they really did a great job of translating that with everything constantly moving and bouncing around and smiling. Even her hat can sing. It's just little details like this that you might miss the first time around. So this is a sequence that I highly recommend checking out like a couple different times. You're going to notice different things constantly. The backup singers, the rainbow, the sun, and the clouds, they all have faces, they all have personalities, and it's all so much fun. And it's made even funnier by the fact that a lot of these things that just randomly talk just sort of say what they are. Like Pudding's carpet just comes down and it's like, carpet, carpet. It's freaking hilarious. And to go along with all of this ridiculous imagery, we also get some more expansion on the character of Pedro, who apparently has been to this island before. He's actually confronted by this one member of the Mink tribe who recognizes him, but Pedro tells him to keep his mouth shut. So Pedro's been here before, and apparently he has seen some pretty serious shit. Despite the fact that the island itself is very sweet and inviting looking, there's a much darker element to Whole Cake Island, and we're going to see more of that in the next couple episodes of the series. Just wait and see. So, I love this episode. To me, this is one of those, like, really classic episodes that a lot of people are always going to remember. It's one of those that all fans need to see, if only for the big introduction of Big Mom, which does not disappoint. It's musically done, it's beautifully done, and it needs to be seen. So, 5 out of 5 from me. That's my thoughts on this week's episode of One Piece. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about this week's episode in the comments section below. What did you think about the introduction of Pudding and Big Mom? Did you have a favorite scene from this episode? Did you like all the musical sequences at the end? What do you hope to see from the next big arc of One Piece? Please tell me in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things One Piece anime related. And make sure to tell me, of course, what you thought about the episode. I'd love to talk with you guys about it. And of course, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.